Good morning, everyone. I'm just trying to find the best position. So it's all started with that video I did yesterday. And all the way through, I kept thinking, perhaps it's time for me to step up and stop hiding. Sometimes we have been so blessed, so fortunate, and we don't tell about it because some things, the stories behind some glories are so gory that we hide them. But I've come to realize that it is a selfish thing to do. And being selfless, being generous, is not the most natural human thing to do. It all started with my head. I keep still hearing that sound, that scratching sound. It took a long time for me to forget that sound. There's this scratching sound. It literally used to haunt me. I was not doing it for the first time. Actually, I'd done quite a few before then. But this time, it was different. First of all, I was already a Christian. I was born again. I knew what I was doing was wrong. But the options, I thought that I did not have an option. I thought the alternative was unacceptable. And so I went on to do the procedure. Some call it evacuation, others call it what it is, an abortion. I was literally killing my child. It's not an easy thing to go through. And I was also putting my life at risk. It was also something that I felt very ashamed about. And therefore, I didn't tell anyone. So there I was, a teenage girl, without letting my mom know. None of my friends knew where I was going because my friends were church folks. And there was no way I was going to tell them. And I was lying down on this cold clinical bed. And I had strangers all around me. And they would put you under, what is called anesthetic. And as they were about to minister that to me, I knew that I may never wake up again. And I cried to God. And I said, God, please, I know that I'm about to do a very bad thing. But please, don't let me die here. I give you my soul. Because there was this dark tunnel. I felt like I was going through this dark tunnel. And something was saying to me, you might not come out of this place again. And there was no one else I could turn to except the invisible person that we know is there all the time, even though we ignore him. So I cried to God that day and I said, God, please, just save me. And I blacked out. When I came to, there was so much blood everywhere. And I could see panic in the faces of of the nurses and the doctor. And the doctor was trying to be brave. And they brought this thing to me in a bowl. And he said, we've done it. We've done the procedure. And they put some tablets in my hand, and they shoved me out the door. Because, these were private clinics where such things were done, and it was all clandestine, if you know what I mean. So I went out the door. I could barely stand up straight. I was bent over. I was so alone. And I kept thinking, God, please don't let me die. And I went home. I did not tell my mother. I did not tell anyone. I just called up there. And somehow, God, by his mercy, he kept my secret. He kept my life. And that signified a complete change in my walk with God. Everyone has a story. But for me, I call God Olubashirimi, the one that hides and keeps my secret. I call him my cover, that his banner over me is love. There were things I couldn't explain, but I knew that from that moment on, I handed my life over to him properly. But I continued as a church girl. In fact, I was a choir coordinator. Can you imagine? With this dark secret. After a few years, one day we were having rehearsal, and one of my girls came in, and she said she wanted to talk to me. And I didn't know what she wanted to talk to me about. So I came out, and she just flung herself at me, and she held me, and she started weeping. She was crying so hard. I thought someone died, like something bad had happened, something desperately bad had happened, So I was trying to find out what is it. And she said, Sister Toyin, I have done a terrible thing. I have done a terrible thing. And I thought, what have you done? And she said, I just had an abortion. Oh my God. I didn't need words. I just held her so tight. And we both cried and cried and cried. And I understood without her having to say a word. I knew how rotten she felt. I knew how guilty. I knew how terrible it was. I knew there was no words that she could use to communicate her pain. But I was shocked that she could trust me with such a secret. And I held that girl in my hands, and I couldn't even talk. I just started singing over her. Kole baje o, kole baje o, Ishe Oluwa, kole baje o. I was trying to say to her that, yes, this is bad, this is terrible. But I have experienced God's love. And God's plan and God's purpose for your life cannot be truncated by this. Yes, it is a terrible thing. But there is mercy with God. There is restoration with God. And there is a new life in God. I don't want to say too much, but today she's happily married. One of those marriages that people dream about and they have children. The story does not end here. I trust God for grace and courage to complete it tomorrow. I love you. Bye.